To all, on the behalf of the Academic for Action and Development, I welcome all of you. We have gathered today on this virtual platform to discuss a very important policy decision adopted by the University of Delhi. As all of you are aware that on 23rd of August, Vice Chancellor called a meeting, a standing committee meeting to discuss the new education policy. And when we, the AD members went there as a special invitee, so of course we don't have any voting right there to send to talk about our dissent, but we raise a very major concern. So I just want to explain you that, as you know, that this is the meeting or the virtual platform where we are going to discuss that what is the proceeding of the AC and DC meeting, what actually happens there. Generally, this thing happens, whatever happened there, that is come out after a very much manipulated manner, that this happened there and one person did this and another person. So here we are here to tell you that what is the actually framework or what actually happens in these AC and DC meetings. So 23rd August, when we were called there as a special invitee, so initially as the Vice Chancellor and the team discussed about the new education policy, and here I especially want to mention that this is the structural draft of the new education policy. So they first want to pass it on for in that NEP committee, that standing committee. So we immediately raised this question that whether the dissent of the Seema Das is registered there or not, because earlier in the EC meeting she already raise her question and simply make a dissent there that we are not adopting this policy. There is a many flaws on this policy regarding different, there is a many anomalies in the policy. And surprisingly, the VC and the team simply denied that there is no dissent. And when we strongly raised the question that how can you say that there is no dissent, then they very slightly in a timid manner said yes, there was a dissent, but it was resolved. And then we said, no, it was not resolved, right? But anyhow, after that they talk about the structural draft of NEP, and here they especially mention all the time, you were surprised to note the focus was the credit point. That was the main focus of the drafting committee. Then we asked them whether you send this draft to the department for their approval, and there was no answer. The next question we asked whether you ask department whether there is a consensus of the department regarding this structural draft. There was no answer. They simply said yes, there was a 50 people committee, and then we asked either there is a actually representation of the department in that committee, then they are just looking to each other. So that was the thing happens initial when we the AD executive, the members went there. We faced that type of thing. Anyhow, the meeting, the second day there was the executive council meeting. So again, we people on the 24th of August, we people went there, and then we one by one raised our question regarding to the 5th December letter or the absorption or the many rights of the student or the teaching community right, NEP, many issues we raised there. So one by one, all our AC member and the EC member will explain you that what happened in these consecutive meetings. So for very first, I invite Dr. Aditya Narayan Mishra, the chairman of the EAD, and the ex-DUTA president and the ex-FEDCUTA president. So Dr. Mishra has consistently raised his voice against the draconian new education policy. He has been one of the credible voice to support absorption of ad hoc teachers and the right of existing permanent teachers. So now this is over to you, sir. We are waiting for your visionary words.
Thank you, Kapila ji, for giving me this opportunity. Rajpal Singh ji, Dr. Seema Das, Alok ji, Sudhanshu, Dr. Negi Saab, CM Negi Saab, Dr. Gupta ji, our veteran from whom we draw inspiration to fight. and all the members. I do not wish to take more time. Dr. Premchand, Alok Pandey, and Amit Singh Kharab, Anju ji, Rahul. See, today, first of all, let me tell you this. I got this news, very shocking news. I'm sharing this news of a veteran supporter of our cause, former member of parliament, former union minister, Mr. Oscar Fernandez ji has passed away today. This is quite shocking for all of us because many a times we used to bother him and seek his interventions, positive interventions, for defending the cause of the academics, university, and the rights of the teachers. And he always extended a helping hand and taking up our matter and raising it in the right platforms. On behalf of the group, on behalf of all of you, I extend my heartfelt condolences and pray to the Almighty that He will give place to his soul to rest in peace, and courage to the family members and his bigger family, that is those who supported him, those who stood with him, also to give them courage and strength at this point of time. With these words, once again,
2 minutes silence also. You can have 2 minutes silence in the memory of Oscar ji.
Okay. Let us go for 2 minutes silence. Thank you. See, we have been raising this, our concerns and our opposition to the new education policy, not right now, for last 5 years. When the documents surfaced, many plan documents came out, we gathered all these things and bit piece by piece. And when we joined those things together, we could see the larger picture is very bleak for government funded institutions. The UGC's grant was reduced up to 55%. When we raised this concern, many people didn't believe this, but we stood with the facts. Now UGC used to get grants, and UGC used to further give us grants. There were two types of grants. One is maintenance grant, in which the salary component of the teachers, karmacharis, maintenance of the building, electricity charges, maintenance of the garden, all such type maintenances, maintenance of the laboratory, holding of seminars, conferences and everything was part of the maintenance grant, normal things. And the second was developmental grant. Developmental grant was for the development, for the building of seminar auditoriums, hostels, blocks, new blocks. During Arjun Singh Ji's time, all the universities and colleges got sufficient amount of money. And some of the institutions could not even utilize those money. But this government very cleverly took that money back from those institutions. But right now, the developmental grant we are not receiving at all. We will come down to the problem, how this has evolved. And from the maintenance grant, all other components have been blocked except the salary component. And I was told that the university is not getting the salary component for the ad hoc teachers, temporary teachers, and ad hoc and contractual employees. Only they are getting the money for the permanent teachers. And some of the colleges are also facing the same problem right now. This is going to engulf into a very big issue. Now the university is managing the money from the developmental grant, and the colleges from the students fund, they are managing these things to pay to the teachers. But this, they will only can do it for some time. For a longer period of time, they cannot do this. Now, this is a real crisis. And only in the Executive Council, the acting Vice Chancellor, Professor Joshi, made a statement. I think Seema ji and Rajpal ji will vouch for it. That the university is facing problem in giving pensionary benefits. And toward disbursement of the pension, the university is running 14 crore deficit. And this deficit, I am saying, will increase in the coming times. And those who are thinking that the pension is not a problem, they will see for themselves the pension will be a big problem. Now, why these things are happening? These are signs of the withdrawal of the funding that we have been talking about. And that began with reduction of grants to the UGC. Now UGC has become a redundant body. The HECI, Higher Education Council of India, will take over. And it's already taken over, but formally this is going to be taken over situation. Now we are getting the grants from the Reserve Bank of India right now, directly. We are sending them and they are giving us. So any point of time, they will make the situation, the switch off so that total funds are blocked. Now if you look at, many people think that the 4 years program is the national education policy. I think they are grossly mistaken. The 4 years program is just part of it. But what happens in this 4 years program, that the committee of courses, faculty, departmental council committee of courses, faculty, all these statutory bodies which is supposed to create a syllabus, create the syllabus and curriculum, have been sidelined. It is perfectly a death warrant that when the Academic Council took it up, the Academic Council has signed its own death warrant. The Executive Council has signed its own death warrant. There will be no funding. These committees have not worked to frame and evaluate, to evolve these courses that were supposedly passed in the Academic Council and Executive Council. Our members, I salute our members for the resilience in opposing these courses, such type of changes. Now you see the Commerce Department hue and cry that their and our members have raised that the Commerce Department has drastically reduced, the workload of the Commerce Department has been reduced. If you look at the environmental sciences, in one semester, environmental science teachers will have no workload. How they will continue? Do not just think about the guest ad hoc faculty that they will be discontinued, but think about the permanent faculty. They will also be in this situation. They cannot, the system will not carry their weight for a long time. All these things are deliberate attempts because they have never taken anything on board, and it is a prefabricated syllabus and structure which has been imposed. If you look at the SWAYAM and MOOCs will provide for 40% online programs that every student has to go through. This is mandatory. This 40% online business, now this time they have deferred it because their elections are coming. They are very clever people. But once the dust will settle, this is going to be the reality. Because they cannot change and alter the new education policy. The university officials were talking about the same thing in the standing committee, in the Academic Council and the Executive Council, that they cannot change this. See, only thing that can be changed by our resistance, by our opposition. Now this is COVID time. We are teaching and we are doing all these things on online. But this online program and SWAYAM and MOOCs came out in 2015, that the Honorable Prime Minister's favorite and pet program. And this is a systematic attempt to reduce the workload. And it will be available in the net through capsule forms. The recordings for these programs have almost completed. And they are arguing that why not the best of the best teachers will teach all the students in the country. और 3-4 लोगों का वो लगा दिया जाएगा, जिसका लोग ज्यादा देखेंगे उसका ज्यादा पैसा मिलेगा, उसको बाकी लोगों को नहीं मिलेगा, बाकी तो किसी को मौका भी नहीं मिलेगा वो अपना रिकॉर्डिंग करके उसमें डालने का. ये तो सिस्टम से ही होगा. Now the point is, now the students will have also the option of taking credit from other institutions. This will be one more reason for creating an unstable workload. It is like a bouquet. You go to a florist and say that I want a rose, I want this flower, I want a lily, So, but what will happen to your class? And what will happen to the teacher? This bouquet business will dwindle the workload to the farthest extent, even beyond 40%. So it is not just the ad hoc teachers who are going to be affected by this. I am saying this with full sense of understanding that almost 60% of our courses will become like this, unstable or no workload. So it is not just the ad hoc teachers who will face the problem, and permanent teachers will are behind a smoke screen that everything is good. They are not going into the details, that they are already into a soup and troubled waters. See, the multiple exits will further escalate this problem. The number of core papers, my friends in the Academic Council and Executive Council and Seema Das ji will elaborate that how the core papers have also been reduced. If somebody leaves at third year, then definitely the workload is a reduced workload, a reduced number of papers. So it is not just about 4 years, but how these 4 years have been structured and what is being implemented will make teachers obsolete and surplus. The whole faculty, whole thing has been structured in a manner as what has been enshrined in the new education policy. I've been talking about this time and again. It talks about rolling faculty, that a faculty will roll from one place to a hop from one university to another university, another place. Contractual faculty, tenure track appointments, extended probations, and if the university and the college will go for 24% foreign faculty, that will also help them to get an institution of eminence status. After 1947, we were not in need of any foreign faculty. We were quite self-sufficient to structure our own courses and curriculum, and that's how the IITs and the IIMs and Delhi University is standing on its own strength, and so also other universities. See, HEPA is also a very lethal instrument. There are 3 colleges which approached from Delhi University, approached HEPA for loan for the construction of the building for other purposes. HEPA didn't give them loans. They assess whether you are in a position to repay the loan or not. If you are in a position to repay the loan, then they will give you loan. And the loan has to be repaid within 10 years. JNU has already taken 421 crores of loan. So the fee structure of the MBA is 13 lakhs rupees for 1.5 years. As a result, many students who have got very good score at the CAT but do not have this money to pay, they have not taken admission. With people, students with 0% at the CAT have taken admission in the MBA program, what has been offered by the JNU. Please find out. I'm not saying JNU is not a good institution. JNU is a very good institution. But when you will sell your degrees, I just want to tell you who is going to come and study here political science honors and history honors. And that is the reason why BOG has been, Board of Governors have been structured. This is a typical Gujarat model which was implemented there, and at that very point of time also I stood in opposition to that. This BOG will be the wholesale masters of the university and colleges. The university and college will be separated. The academic council and executive council will lose its teeth of having the elected components, and the BOG will be overall supreme. They will decide about the courses, service conditions, and the pay structure. There will be no uniform pay structure. And all courses which are not able to draw money will naturally be closed. If we are behind a smoke screen of everything is good, then we will only repent. I have been saying about this. And this BOG, when it will also given the power of dislodging a teacher also, we will not follow the line. Introduction of new courses, curriculum, everything, all powerful. And there is no provision of any reservation in this whole process. So all these good words that you see, because that is a promo campaigning that has been unleashed by this government. While drafting this, while implementing, before implementing, they have not taken any of these elected components of the university, students, teachers into confidence. I was told in the executive council the fee structure proposal has also been passed with some dissent from our members, because they will be charging enhanced fees. Of 2000 next academic session say this will be implemented. They were in a quite big hurry because they are working according to a time schedule which is part of the new education policy. Whether it is COVID or any new vice chancellor is supposed to come are not the concerns. You implement it ruthlessly. The government want to absolve itself from the funding of the university system. Now, in this new education policy, the enrollment has, they are a proposed thing that it has been increased from 24% to 50%. How this will be done? From 24% students in the eligible age group, 50% of the population of this country are in the age group of receiving education, higher education and education. And if it is going to be 50%, then where are the institutions? Where is the funding? So those who will have fund will go to these private enterprises or supposedly BOG enterprises. Now all IITs and IIMs is headed by a board of governors, and a particular industrial houses have been given this job to manage that. The same is going to be the situation for all the colleges. Some colleges will be run Those who do not have buildings, those who do not have a particular it will be run by property dealers or particular ideological dispensations. And the better ones will be taken over, and they will not sell these history and political science and chemistry and physics, but they will offer courses which fends money from the market, from the students. Now we have been caught in this whole process. We are practically, I have seen the strength of the DUTA in opposing things. We have done it in the past. In 2003, a proposal came in the name of privatization, Model Act, where all the fee structure, the student has to bear the real fees, real cost. We calculated it. We opposed it. And this was taken back by the subsequent government when Arjun Singh ji became the minister. He called a press conference to announce that we are not in a position, we will never implement this, the Model Act. I fought till that point of time. Now the situation is that we have become a sleeping ducks. And behind the smoke screens that is prevailing of photographs and congratulations, we are going to have a very fatal exclusion from the government funded institutions. And the situation has become more complicated because some have welcomed it openly and some have given only a cosmetic opposition. No concrete opposition in the scene. I think all these discussions, what has happened and transpired, we want in this whole situation. Our people, our teacher elected representatives have taken a consistent position, whether it was Nachiketa Singh, Richa Raj or Imtiaz Ahmed, whether it was Rajesh Jha, Dr. J.L. Gupta or Seema Das and Rajpal ji, and our members Sudhanshu, Alok, Ranjan, Pandey, CM Negi Saab and Kapila, all have taken a consistent position regarding absorption of teachers and opposition to the new education policy. Because if you remain divided, we all will be killed. We all will be removed. We need to stand collectively. And we stand for permanent absorption. I think I've taken little more time. I again request Kapila ji to go ahead with the transactions and requesting members to speak on their experiences and their articulations in the Academic Council and Executive Council, so that people should know what is happening, how in a hurriedly manner this whole the whole scheme of destruction has been orchestrated. Kapila ji.
Thank you.